Hi, this is Marc from the ATV Guys, and today we are reviewing a Can-Am UTV, and this is the beast I was talking to you about. This is the Can-Am Defender 6x6, the beast. Why am I reviewing this? I'll be brutally honest. I kind of like the utilitarian UTVs. I had a Defender for about a year, a couple of years back, the first generation. I liked it a lot. It had a few shortcomings, and one thing that I noticed when I got this is coming straight from BRP head office, is the first time I started it, and I'm so stoked about this that let's give it a listen. So. Can you hear it? This is how quiet this thing is. And now the power's been beefed up from 70 something to 82 horsepower and 69 foot-pound of torque, and it shows. It's a really flat torque line, so it's not snappy, but it pulls very decently. I like that a lot. Now, on this engine, quiet. You have a Donaldson air filter type, which I like a lot. They seal very good. They seal better, and less dust. I'd wish for the pickup, the air pickup, that would be higher up here, but you know, you can't have it all. But there is an optional snorkel kit that you can put on this thing. I'd like it because on the other side of things, the CVT has been revised. CVT engagement much smoother. I was told by the engineer that it was 500 RPM lower engagement, and this is about it. So new cover, by the way. This outputs air, and with this heat shield here, actually helps cycle hot air out of the engine compartment. The intake is here, and it's not a bad idea, but I'd like it to be higher up. In wintertime with tracks, you might want to consider having the snorkel kit. This will get packed up. But performance-wise, the engine was very nice. Throttle engagement is perfect. It's an electronic throttle. They've worked a lot on the throttle engagement and the throttle plane, the way it reacts to your foot. It's smoother. It actually runs like a large SUV. It's on the motor side of things, motor and primary CVT drive. I love it. The transmission is a one-piece unit with the forward rear diff, but they actually added a power takeoff on the back of it to have this, and to create the 6x6 you get a standard rear diff out of just about any ATV. And the cool thing is that the vent is an expansion instead of having vents on the frame and stuff like that. Suspension on this thing is awesome. I wouldn't have thought that it would have been that good. It's a very comfortable ride. It's a dual rate spring, and with I think it's a gas loaded shock. I forgot to ask that at the engineer that I talked to, product development at the BRP. But dual rate springs, it does phenomenally well for comfort. BRP states that this is 1,000 pounds to be loaded, maximum capacity of the box. I think it's just because of ratings and stuff like that, because the way this is set up and the stock Defender, it can already have 1,000 pounds in the box. So I really do think that this is just a spec thing. You could probably load 2,000 pounds in the box and it'll work fine. On suspension and handling, one thing that I didn't notice, and I didn't check out the specs, but this thing has a 64-inch stance now. It was 62 inches before. Now they've increased it, and they changed the front suspension for arched A-arms, which went totally under the radar. But you get about I'd say about two inches more ground clearance, especially in the center. It's a stout setup. I like it. Oh, turn in on this thing is awesome. It's like this is like a bus, right? But it turns on a freaking dime. I don't know how they work that steering angle, but the way they did it, check out this thing, how much it turns. So you can pretty much handle out and turn around in very tight spots. That for me is a big surprise. I thought that it would be much worse as a 6x6, but the 64-inch compared to 62 just makes the wheel come out a little bit more, so they keep the same steering angle to be able to turn. Very, very nice on that side, especially for utilitarian. You know, you carry stuff around and stuff, and you're going in a tight place. This thing can turn on a dime. Now let's talk about the most important feature of this thing, the box. This is 6 foot by 4.5 foot box. Now, some pickups have a smaller box. And a cool little feature they thought about, I like the latches, by the way, really, really sturdy stuff. But it's already got the party kit in the back. So you can have some beers or some soda pop or whatever on the box, sit down, but only one guy. Like a guy like me, because it's a 250-pound limit to sit there. But still, and you got the 20-liter pail indentations here, so the pails don't move around. There's all kinds of accessories for this box. I could bore you for about a half hour. There's so many configurations that can be done on this thing. Extremely long, huge box that with a little bit of work you can actually take out the sides and have a flatbed configuration on this thing. There's another one big like this from Can-Am. It's called the Defender Pro, which only has one rear axle, and it's at the end here. If you don't need the extra traction, you can go and get the Defender Pro. But this this will pull out as long as you're not sinking this thing in 3 feet of mud, because it is wide, big, heavy. And if you don't have a winch, don't even go try like 24 inches of mud, because it's gonna stay there. This one is not equipped with a winch. I love the way the thing rides. I love the way it steers. They worked a lot on the steering. They worked on the drivability of this thing, because this thing is huge, but it doesn't feel huge while you're driving it. The DPS has been optimized, much smoother. It feels a little bit disconnected, but it's just perfectly fine, because it just actually drives like a pickup truck or a large SUV. Turn-in is sharp, riding is great, the suspension is perfect, perfectly calibrated. And I know you probably want me to go and pull something with it and tell you that this thing is like a tank and it'll pull all kinds of stuff and have hay bales and all this. I don't go that way. I just talk about mechanics. The points that I do like on this thing, it's whisper quiet compared to the previous generation. I love the CVT engagement on it, that lower RPM engagement, much smoother, less bubble heading inside the cab, especially if you're a passenger. Much more comfortable. The steering, I loved the very tight turn-in radius. That's pristine on this thing. It's insanely good. The instrumentation panel is basic, but it works. They revised this thing here. The buttons are better, so it's much more protected from the elements. So this is great, and it looks good. There's this thing in here, so that's kind of a lunchbox that or toolbox that you can remove. Missing is the big storage box, but I would have wished for a work machine that box would have been included. But it's only nitpicking. You got a 12 volt here, 12 volt outlet here. You get 4x4, the ignition. and lights. You know, kind of bare bones machine, but it's designed for work. I think that's why they offer that package the way it is. So things I like. I like the engine, the way it responds, the quietness of it. I like the transmission, shifting, the new shifting, the shift gate, all this stuff that's been corrected from the 2017-16 models. This thing shifts perfectly. No hang-ups, anything. Like I said, I like the way it rides. The suspension is great. It can handle much more than what's in the specs. I'd say minimum 2,500 pounds in the box, and it won't even. I don't think it's gonna suffer for it. Specs are 1,000 pounds. It can tow 3,000 pounds. So that's it. It's designed for that 3,000 pounds, which is much higher than just about any small SUV and stuff like that. So you can really tow and haul. And that's the cool thing about it, because it transformed this type of UTV, transformed it from something I can do a little bit of work to something that can be a daily workhorse, and is another offering that can be purchased if you like, instead of, let's say, going to companies that sell farm implements, or I won't name brands, but some are really dedicated machines that ride no more than 40 clicks an hour and stuff like that. This thing will hit 100 easy and with relative comfort. It's really well built. I've been a fan of the Defender platform ever since it came out. Brakes are much better. The initial brake bite on the first generation was very sharp, so you have to be very careful on the brakes. Much better brake engagement, softer and easier to modulate. Fit and finish, typical BRP. Can't say anything bad about it. I like the new front end fascia. They kind of beefed it up a little bit, especially on the lower end. The top end is the same with the lights and stuff. This has been worked a little bit on, and it's much easier to open and close than before. But fit and finish, body, everything is as I like it. Now this thing is a workhorse, so you know, I wouldn't put too much fidget-jigs on it and all kinds of stuff. It's designed to work. If you want all the bells and whistle, the accessory catalog from BRP is just huge, so you can enjoy it. The pluses: I love the engine, I love the CVT engagement, it's perfect. I love the torque, the way the torque is delivered. I like the way the transmission shifts. You can shift the gears. The new transmission gate is very good. It's riding on some pretty good suspension. It's basic stuff, but it does the job. That's the most important thing. So suspension and handling, steering is a plus. Those are all on the plus sides. I like the styling too. The styling is nice. Fit and finish is good. Typical BRP. What I don't like, I'll be brutally honest. Past 60 clicks an hour, you're starting to hear some noise, gear droning inside the differentials. I was told it might be this unit because it's been heavily abused. It's a press unit, but I'll give it. It's still on the negative. It's a little bit noisy rear end, and usually the rear ends on the BRP units are a little noisy, so they have a tendency to have a gear whine. Well, that's pretty much all I don't like from it, is that gear drone, that rear end droning past 60 clicks an hour. But you can live with it, but I don't particularly like it. But this is almost a perfect score. Who would have thought? Oh, another thing I don't really like is the seats. If you're just working around, bombing around with it and stuff like that, they're good. I'd widely prefer to have a full seat with a little bit of side bolstering, like they did on the XMR unit. But the seats, it's a little bit of nitpicking, I know, but my old bones like to have some comfort. So wish it could be a little bit more decked out, like that missing tray, that missing box under there, that I would like. And I would like to have the snorkel kit pre-installed on all of these units. See, this is the CVT vent, and the air intake on this is pretty low, so the Donaldson filter is about here, so the air intake is about here. So if you go over the stock wheels, this thing will siphon water and you'll end up with some issues. I know it's not designed for, I wouldn't put this in like 3 feet of water anyways, because this thing is huge, but I gotta say what I gotta say. A winch is mandatory. Why is there no winch on this machine? I know it's on a price point, so yeah, I'm a little bit disappointed in that. I wish it would have came in with an XT package, because it's got the wheels and stuff. It's just missing the fender flares and the winch. The winch, you have to have a winch on this. If you don't have a winch on this, you will regret it. If you ever get stuck, you will not enjoy trying to get this thing out of some muck and stuff. But all in all, this thing is awesome. The cool thing about it is the price. Starts at $21,399, so $21,400 Canadian. You get this beast. So do I recommend it for a workhorse? Yes, I do, without any doubt. If your work ratio is over 70%, or go for the Pro, the Defender Pro, which will have only a single axle in the back, completely at the end, and that one will have a turf mode, because if you ride with this thing on grass, you're going to churn it up. So there's no turf mode on this unit, simply because it's a double axle. Put a turf mode on 2 axles like this, it's still going to churn. So you want to do some turf, you want to ride on grass and fields and stuff like that, get the Pro instead. If you want something that pulls and has a lot of grip, up hills, down hills, and all kinds of stuff like that, the 6x6 is the one that you want. So this thing is getting a recommended badge. Yay! Only gripe again is the droning from the gears in the back, but as I was told, this might be a little bit emphasized on this unit, because it's been worked really hard as a press unit and a test unit. So might be that's the only thing. The rest, there's not much stuff I don't like about it. So say, if you like what we do, this is free content that we give to you, and I'm not a professional journalist or whatever. I'm just a senior tech with about 30 odd years, getting old, 30 odd years of experience. I'm a lifetime ATVer, and that's all. I have fun doing this stuff, but this is what I think. I'm not getting paid by a manufacturer. I'm not getting money or anything, sponsorship or whatever. The machine is lent to me. I get to say whatever I feel about it. I would like to thank BRP at Valco Quebec World Head Office to have loaned me one of their units. I appreciate it a lot. Thanks. And if you like what I do, please subscribe to the YouTube channel, and you can find us on YouTube at ATV Guys Magazine, and you can also find us on Instagram at ATV Guys. So this is Mark from the ATV Guys, and I'm going riding.